Hello, my name is Michael Young. I'm a senior solutions engineer and I specialize in architecting cloud solutions for my customers. Today, I would like to talk to you about hybrid cloud architecture. So as many of you are probably familiar with on-premise solutions, typically you have a large cluster that has shared workloads and multi-tenancy is very common. That on-prem cluster is typically using Embari to manage updates and health of the cluster. You have Atlas for metadata governance, you have Ranger for security policy enforcement, you have a Hive Metastore for a common Hive schema, and you have Nox, which provides you perimeter security. Now, those are all the infrastructure services. HDFS provides you the cost-effective storage. Yarn is your compute resource negotiator, and then of course, Hive and Spark and other similar workloads are optimized for particular use cases. Now, if you're like most organizations, you're starting to become intrigued by the notion of going to the cloud and saving a ton of money in the cloud. And the problem you often run into is you need to be able to migrate to the cloud, but you need to have a consistent security and governance view, number one. Number two, you have to be able to take the workload and the time invested and the knowledge that you have here, the institutional knowledge, and move that to the cloud without having to do a significant recoding effort. So, what we're able to do is have all of these same components deployed in the cloud, more importantly, on any cloud vendor. So in the cloud, you have shared services. Shared services are the Atlas, Ranger, Hive Metastore, and Nox that I previously talked about, but they're associated with a single data lake cluster that you then attach multiple clusters to be able to get a very common set of Ranger policies, Atlas metadata, and the Hive Metastore. So in the cloud, you're going to have multiple clusters. If you have experienced anything like me, you're building out your clusters, you've developed your workloads, and you realize that you need to expand, and you have a procurement cycle that is 6 to 8 months. That is absolutely frustrating. In the cloud, you don't have to deal with that. You can spin up new machines in just minutes. So having multiple clusters is really common. Having multi-cloud is also becoming a requirement these days. Many organizations and enterprises have a need for DR and COOP, and they cannot have a single cloud provider, so they're often looking at least two. So the dilemma you have is if I'm in the cloud and I'm on-prem, how do I have a single view of my security and governance? How do I have a single view into the data? And the answer is data plane service. So you're taking advantage of cloud compute, you're taking advantage of cloud storage, and those correspond to HDFS and Yarn. You have all of your workloads that are running in the cloud, but what data plane is doing for you is it's providing you extensible services like DLM, Data Lifecycle Manager, DSS, Data Steward Studio. DLM provides you the ability to do backup and restoration, allows you to do disaster recovery and auto-tiering of storage. So you can define policies that are going to copy and replicate your data from on-prem to the cloud and vice versa. It'll keep multiple cloud clusters in sync in terms of their security policies, so you've got a single pane of glass for managing those policies and the metadata governance. With DSS, you've got for your data stewards, you have the ability to have a single pane of glass for looking at all of the assets. If I've got a dozen clusters out there and I'm trying to figure out what Hive table my data sits in, that can often be difficult for your analysts, your developers, and your data scientists. DSS gives you the ability to catalog those individual tables into a single set of assets that you can favorite, you can bookmark, and then rank, and then provide collaboration in terms of commentary. And then what allows you to do is see metadata information about the data as it exists on each of those individual clusters, and then easily access that data. So the takeaway here is you've got the on-prem, you've got multiple clusters in the cloud, and you're able to synchronize all of your security and your governance policies so that you've got a single pane of glass. That was my overview for a hybrid cloud architecture. Thank you for watching.